What if you could save the world? Not some superhero, you. Each of us is a vital part of this story. In my life, there have been many occasions when I had to dig deep inside to simply find the courage to be me. Deciding to go to Wesleyan was one of those occasions. It took 2 years of cajoling, convincing, and sheer stubbornness on my part to convince my family that I was determined to study and getting married was not a priority. I was the first single woman from my family to go overseas for higher education. As a freshman, everything was so exciting. And then, overnight, it all changed. I was bedridden, spent weeks in hospital, and then additional weeks at the infirmary with a spinal injury. A few family members immediately advised me to give up and go home. I just knew they were waiting for me to fail, and this was their chance to say, "I told you so." I was equally determined to stay and continue my studies, and I did. It took a while. I explored various healing modalities and found those that worked for me. And not only did I heal, I also graduated and, surprise, surprise, went on to get advanced degrees. I dreamt of working at the United Nations and was ecstatic at landing my dream job with the UN Population Fund. I finally had the prestige and financial stability I craved. However, it became increasingly obvious that my aspirations to have immediate impact were at odds with the workings of a large bureaucracy. Walking away was crazy, but I knew I had a choice to make: conform to others' expectations or have the courage to be me. I walked away. Life continued to present me with opportunities to redefine myself, build resilience, and rediscover what truly gives me joy. A head-on collision that fractured my spine, a failed marriage that left me isolated and feeling like a complete failure, a traumatic brain injury so severe that I temporarily lost my sight and hearing, required me to wear a helmet for 3 years. In the flurry of healing modalities, doctor's visits, prescriptions, and hospital stays, nutrition was somehow never highlighted, and it was only in hindsight that I realized nutrition was and is a primary component of health. This is something many of us have come to understand amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Whether it's building our immunity or healing our virus-ravaged bodies, nutrition has a pivotal role to play. I began to appreciate how our food system is inextricably linked with not only our health, yours and mine, but also the health of our planet. As I dug deeper, I was shocked at what I found. Our food system is hopelessly outdated, inefficient, wasteful, cruel, resource depleting, unsustainable, and is literally killing us. Just 12 plants and 5 animals represent 75% of the world's food supply. Did you know that there are 350,000 plant species in the world, and about 80,000 are safe for us to eat? Surprisingly, a very limited 30 plants are used to produce 95% of human calories and proteins. Modern industrial agriculture has provided us with an abundance of calorie-rich but nutritionally poor food. What we gained in terms of food security, we lost in nutrition. The plants we use to produce most of our calories are now grown using industrial methods of monoculture that actually deplete the soil, sacrifice nutrition for higher yields, and use artificial fertilizers and pesticides that we now know have a detrimental impact on our health. In fact, the fruits and vegetables our grandparents ate were actually richer in vitamins, minerals, and protein. So more is not always better. I discovered that in 1 year, we grow enough food to feed 70 billion animals. We then slaughter them and feed 7 billion people, while another 1 billion people go hungry. Let's break it down further. For every 100 calories of grain fed to farmed animals, humans receive just 40 calories from milk, or a mere 3 calories from beef. The meat and dairy industry require a staggering 83% of farmland to produce just 18% of our calories. A key reason for their continued existence is the massive subsidies they receive from governments. Many of us are unaware that animal agriculture is a leading cause of greenhouse gas emissions. It's also a direct cause of ocean dead zones, loss of biodiversity, rainforest destruction, and species extinction. Animal agriculture also consumes other finite resources, like water. It takes over 1,800 gallons of water to produce just 1 pound of beef. That's roughly equivalent to 7 years of drinking water for one person. And it takes over 50 gallons of water to produce just 1 egg. That's the equivalent of flushing your toilet 31 times. My work is focused on emerging markets like India and Africa. India is facing 3 converging crises: human health, agrarian angst, and climate change. 80% of Indians are protein deficient. Every 32 minutes, a farmer commits suicide. And 53% of the arable land is already degraded and eroded. India is a country of 1.3 billion people, and close to 70% of that population is involved in agriculture. That's a huge number. Agriculture is also the single most important economic activity in Africa. It provides employment to 2/3 of the continent's working population. Given the sheer number of people impacted, any transformation in our food system must take into account farmer welfare. Not doing so would further impoverish and destroy communities that are already disproportionately impacted by climate change. We actually have the know-how to radically transform our food system. Science, technology, and necessity are driving the alternative protein revolution. As we speak, companies across the globe are producing meat, seafood, egg, and dairy analogs that address many of the problems of our current deeply flawed food system. What started as a fad or trend is now fast becoming the way forward. To put it simply, Plant-Based 1.0 was the first attempt to make products that imitated meat and dairy. Frankly, these were poor imitations. Plant-Based 2.0 is when science and technology progressed to provide us with tasty, more realistic options. These are the products available in the market today. And now we have Plant-Based 3.0. Companies like mine are innovating to give you not only delicious options, but also nutritionally dense foods. In other words, more protein, vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients. So these are no longer just alternatives. My company's plant-based products may look like dairy and taste like dairy, but they're way better than dairy. 100 grams of our yogurt will have the same amount of protein as 3 eggs. We use millets, one of the world's oldest cultivated grains, as our core ingredient. Millets are drought-resistant crops requiring no artificial pesticides and fertilizers traditionally grown by poor marginalized farmers. Our products are designed to revive your health, restore farmer communities, and rejuvenate the planet. We have till 2030 to get our act together. That's a mere 8 years away. Make no mistake about it, we are in a fight for our lives. The time for doing no harm has passed. We need to actively fix what we have destroyed. Being carbon neutral just isn't enough anymore. Whatever actions we take, we must ensure that we have a net positive rather than a negative or even neutral impact on the planet. We can't wait for multilateral agencies, national governments, institutions, and corporations to save us from extinction. We need to save ourselves from extinction. Instead of eating our way to extinction, we can eat our way out of extinction. Choices have consequences. That sounds ominous, but what it really boils down to is everything we do has an impact. Each of us as individuals can make a huge difference in whether we die or thrive. What we choose to eat has wide-reaching ramifications on our health, the well-being of the planet, and in a nutshell, on practically everything. The power to save ourselves from extinction is in our hands, or to put it more accurately, in our mouths. Even incremental changes in your diet can have a huge impact on the planet. Let me give you an example. A recent study in the UK revealed that if the adult population were to replace just 2 meat meals, that's 2 meat meals a week, with plant-based alternatives, they would save up to 291 million metric tons of greenhouse gas emissions in 1 year. This would equal the annual carbon capture impact of 13.88 billion trees. So if you are lucky enough to have 3 square meals a day, you get 3 chances every single day to save us from extinction. There's an incredible variety of plant-based foods and beverages out there. You can find these alternatives down almost every aisle in your local supermarket. All you have to do is add them to your shopping cart. Now is the time to be courageous in your food choices. I understand that food and food habits are deeply ingrained in our psyche. It's a part of our individual and collective identities. Food and diet are also a part of our religious and cultural upbringing. When I became vegan, I faced ridicule, skepticism, and even hostility from family, friends, and strangers. Take it from me, it's not easy charting your own course. I know. But these are not normal times. We are fighting for our very survival, the survival of our children and this beautiful planet we call home. I started my company in the middle of the pandemic. Many doubted my resolve, given my age. Being an entrepreneur at any age is challenging. Being a female founder and a minority, harder still. However, there is no place I would rather be than right here, helping you and me eat our way out of extinction, one mouthful at a time. Thank you.